Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome to day 3 of our 10-day soul manifestation challenge. So, today we're going to dive deep into the practice of receiving wisdom from your soul. And this wisdom is something that I've mentioned before. It's always present within you, it's always guiding you. It's just that you need to tune in and listen. So, the soul is always speaking to you, but it can be hard to hear it because we drown out its voice with the constant chatter of our own thoughts, our own minds, our reactions, our emotions. They can all be distractions. But the more that we start to move into a space of surrender and release control, we start to create more space for our soul's essence to emerge. And that in itself is a process that doesn't happen overnight. Surrender to the path of the soul and learning to manifest from your soul is something that, once you learn how to do it, can be so profound. But it's not always easy to just suddenly stop thinking. And it's not that our thoughts are bad. It's just that our thoughts take us away from who we are. And I've learned that it can be difficult to see our thoughts as something from outside of ourselves. Sometimes when you say you're thinking of something, you see it as I'm thinking of something. But who is you? What part of you is thinking? What part of you has that emotion? Is that who you are deep down? Or is it maybe a, a mirror image of your own perspectives or learned behaviours that's come from outside of you but isn't actually you? So your thoughts aren't who you are. Your emotions aren't who you are. Who you are is much deeper and more profound and more expansive than that. And it can be difficult to just suddenly go into that idea of, oh, I am not my thoughts. It's a practice. It's a time for you to meditate, to connect inward, and to allow your thoughts to come up. Sometimes it can help just to not quiet the mind, but instead notice those thoughts coming through. Notice the chatter as if it's you're looking inward. So you're seeing something from another perspective. So you're watching your thoughts and you're thinking, oh God, I'm having a terrible day at work and I don't think my boss likes me, and oh God, I've got this to-do list. Instead of getting caught up in the stream of consciousness, in the stream of thoughts, just take a moment to say, well, where's that thought coming from? Is that coming from me? Or is that coming from my fears? And when we start to practice that, we start to move into this deeper awareness. So I invite you to practice surrendering. It can be difficult to do at first, where we just learn just to sit and be with our thoughts, connect to our breath, allow that stream of consciousness just to come through. Instead of judging yourselves for thinking certain things, whether it's negative or positive, instead just watch it, watch that stream move through. And instead of trying to control it or trying to delve deeper into it, in a way, when we do that, it's like our thoughts create thoughts and then they start creating thoughts and we get lost in that fear-based thinking, and it can end up taking over our lives. So this is about really practicing connecting to your breath again. I know sometimes I think the next 10 days will feel like, oh, she's told me this before, but I want to try and ingrain in you how important it is just to connect to your breath, to your body, and to your heart. Because when we start doing that, when we start moving into that stillness, we can start seeing what wisdom is coming through from our soul, what our next steps are from that soul perspective. So I want you to take time to surrender and bring a more awareness to the present moment. So a wonderful teacher called Ram Dass spoke about the power of presence, and he said that the quieter you become, the more you can hear. And that reminds us that when we allow our minds to quieten, we can hear the wisdom of our soul in a much more clearer way than we would be able to. We don't get lost in the past, the present, or the future. Instead, we're living more within this present moment and within the magic that is being alive on this planet. I think sometimes we get caught up in our daily lives and all the tiny little things that we're constantly worrying about, or all that pressure that we're feeling that we're having to create in our lives, where we think we have to achieve something in order to be fulfilled. But instead, imagine if we could just be in the power of the present moment and feel fulfilled already. So, manifestation is about chasing our dreams, but it doesn't have to be about forcing things to happen. Chasing our dreams can simply mean chasing that, not chasing, but living in that moment where we're already happy, we're already filled with joy, and we're already following our path. So, when we live in that present moment, it can bring so much power. So today, I want you to do some soul journaling. So take time to quieten your mind today. Practice the meditations from the previous 2 days. Continue journaling and asking, what is it that my soul wants to tell me today? And the other 2 questions I want you to ask yourself in your journal is, how can I align more deeply with this guidance? How can I integrate this guidance into my being? And what truths have I been avoiding? And how can I surrender to them? So when your soul is, when you're connecting to your soul and it's telling you to maybe bring something beautiful and creative into the world, but immediately your response is to shut it down and you feel fearful, you feel that constriction in your heart, or you're telling yourself, I can't do this, or this is too much for me, I don't want to do this just feels a little bit too overwhelming. Ask yourself, where is that fear coming from? What is it that you're afraid of? And it could be that you're afraid to be seen, that you're afraid to fail, or that maybe you're afraid to be successful and have a lot of changes happening in your life. Our minds fear change in such a profound way that when anything is uncomfortable, even when we're meditating and we're really deepening our practice, you might have a day where you're suddenly really emotional, you're angry, you're overwhelmed, you're fearful. Funnily enough, that's part of the process of tapping into our emotions and allowing them to release naturally through our bodies. So if you are feeling like that this week, or you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, take a break from the exercises and find a way to bring yourself back into your body. For me, breath work is such a powerful way for me to immediately come back to the present moment. Or doing yoga, I do Kundalini Kriya yoga, which really helps. Or just simply moving your body, getting out in nature, grounding. All of that can help you bring yourself back into your body and away from your mind. So we have to remember that the more we can step back, the more we can not follow the stream of thoughts that we're constantly having. And the more that we try and control and analyze them, the more we end up delving deeper into that fear base, the more we open ourselves to infinite wisdom that is our soul. So to clarify, that today's practice is simply surrender and listen. Just journal and just connect to your soul continually, and just continue to bring awareness to the present moment, and trust that wherever your soul is guiding you is exactly where you need to be. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So thank you so much again for joining this challenge, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.